Good morning and welcome to the Budget Committee. It is Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024, 11:30 a.m. Call this meeting to order. First order of business is the approval of the agenda.
Resolved that the agenda for the October 8th, 2024 Budget Committee meeting be approved as presented.
Would like to move and second that. Councillor Hintz would move it. And I think Councillor Sloan would like to second that. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes?
Resolved that the minutes of the Budget Committee meeting held on June 11th, 2024 be adopted.
If there are no errors or omissions, I would accept Deputy Warden Jones and Councillor Hintz. All in favor? Thank you. Remind everyone of disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. I'm seeing none. We have no delegations, so we'll go right into reports and briefings. 6.1, Chief Administrative Officer Clerk, Finance Committee terms of reference. Blaine, good morning.
Morning, Warden, and through you to members of committee. Following the discussion at our past budget committee meetings where there was some discussion around the concept of the budget committee evolving to more of a finance committee to take a broader mandate with respect to the financial strategies and policies of the county. So what we've done is we've done some research into other finance committees. I've been involved in the development of finance committees before in previous lives. And so the committee or the terms of reference that are before the committee were drafted as a starting point, and I'd certainly welcome any discussion or feedback or questions from the committee with respect to the recommended terms of reference. What we tried to do was, again, take a broader focus or a larger mandate for the committee with respect to financial strategies, policy direction. We heard actually from the county's auditor, Mr. Foster, this morning with respect to certain philosophies in regards to reserve management, and Deputy Warden Jones mentioned on a couple of occasions asset management. Those type of philosophies or those type of considerations have been we've tried to capture those in the various elements of the terms of reference. But with that, Warden Ketchel, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. Ms. Ford would be happy to answer any questions, but I certainly welcome feedback and comments from the committee.
All right, thank you very much for that report, Blaine. Yes, the draft terms of reference are before the committee members. My initial comments are that I believe this moves us in the direction of what was originally envisioned a few years ago, and I think Deputy Warden Jones would concur with that. And I'm going to turn over to committee members. Do you have any concerns or any questions? Anything that might cause some heartache or heartburn? Yes, Andrew.
Thank you through you, Warden Ketchabah, to the CAO. I appreciate this. Even when we were talking this morning about with Ms. Ford about the investments, and you've got in here the some of the stuff that I think and probably you've had success with at your previous posts. It looks to me like this will allow us to do a bit of a deeper dive into some of the key components that we're all very interested in. And when it comes to things like where are we investing in the short term, what are the options available? Central Elgin just came, had a plan with some money that we've gotten, and there's some opportunities available, and those are the type of discussions I'd like to have, and I believe your terms of reference make that possible. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Might make this a real short meeting. Fill it out a little more. Yep, I'm sorry. Deputy Warden Jones.
Yeah, I concur. I think this is something that's been in the works for 4 or 5 years now.
Mhm.
And it's time.
Just like the preceding budget committee, so to speak, you take a smaller subset of council, try to educate and try to go through it that way. Ultimately, council is going to make the decision on what's going to happen. But I think if we have a greater understanding, we can help work with our colleagues to make sure that they have that same understanding. Good. Lunch is coming. Catherine, please.
Resolved that the report titled Finance Committee Terms of Reference from the Chief Administrative Officer Clerk dated October 8th, 2024 be received and filed, and that the Budget Committee evolve to a Finance Committee with a broader mandate as described herein this report and recommend the same to County Council for adoption, and that the Budget Committee adopt the committee terms of reference for the Finance Committee and recommend the same to County Council for adoption.
We have a mover who wants to evolve. Deputy Warden Jones and Councillor Hens. All in favor of this? That is carried. Thank you very much. 6.2, Chief Administrative Officer Clerk regarding the budget public open house discussion.
Thank you, Warden, and through you to members of committee. What I'd like to do now is some of the discussion at our previous budget committee circled around the survey that was that has been done. We committee decided to move off of the type of survey and go to more of an open house, which I certainly think is the most appropriate way to go. So in keeping with the previously passed terms of reference, I would recommend committee not necessarily get into too much detail about specific questions or things like that. I'm looking for more of a strategy type of commentary on. We are starting to plan for those budgetary open houses. My initial thoughts would be to keep them focused at a higher level on services and levels of service and the related cost to those service to gain some discussion from our community members. But again, I'm certainly open to committee comments on that. But I'd stress I'd like some strategy comments or some directional type of comments from the committee. Thank you, Ward.
Thank you for that, Blaine. Any comments from the committee? Yes, Deputy Warden Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I guess I'm a little skeptical about the participation part of it, but it hasn't gone well in the past. But maybe if we do a road tour, it might be received better. I don't know. I know it's a long county and you're asking people to drive a long ways. Maybe we need to drive to them and see how it pans out. You're going to put staff time into it and our time into it. I think we want to see benefit to that time being expended, but in the past, having it here hasn't worked at all, really.
I would agree with you. Having an open house here, whether it's with boards or whatever else, just hasn't generated the interest. On the other hand, I believe there was extensive resourcing that went into preparing a questionnaire, putting it out there, tabulating the results. For at the end of the day, I'm not sure that it served any more purpose. But if, maybe it is a good trial, as you say, this cycle to go out and visit various ends of the county and give the public an opportunity. If they wish to come and speak to us, we're available. Perhaps, keeping other ideas available, such as spots on a website or through the library system that, fill out a form or something. If you want something to talk to us about, we're available. I just don't want to preclude anyone, but at the same time, I agree with you. I think we want to expend the resources that we have wisely. That sound fair? Blaine, please.
Thank you, Warden. What we would be recommending and what we started to discuss is we would be looking at 3 open houses, sort of one centrally located, one more to the east, one more to the west. The other option, and to your point, Warden, with respect to just continuing to encourage community engagement. One thing that I'd like to see continue to evolve on our website is the ability for our community to engage with us anytime, all the time, not just about a specific budget question, but anytime, all the time. And that's something that we can stress in our day-to-day communications, is that the county is always here, always open to listening, always wanting to be engaged with our community. I think we can do a better job at just continuing to message that out there to our community, that it's not just about, oh, do you like to see a higher level of investment in libraries? It's a one-time question that you're going to get very targeted answers, and I'm not sure they provide you with the value. But if we can continue to stress on a day-to-day basis that the county is always open to your opinions, always open to being engaged with you, that's what I'd like to see more of our website evolve to, is that main primary portal for that people feel comfortable reaching out to the county at any point in time.
I agree. Yep. Grant, please.
Just to expand on Blaine's comments, and I know there's always this misunderstanding of what our purpose is and what our core what the core of it, what we do, and it seems to get really sidetracked when they start commenting on stuff that actually the municipal partners are responsible for. And I guess on the website, if we could explain maybe in a pie chart what the county is responsible for, and keep your comments to those core, like roads, county roads, library. Obviously, the long-term care is a huge one for us.
I think that's fairly doable. Jen, that kind of information's in the annual report, let alone even in our budget documents, so who does what. So it's just a cut and paste, I would think, to put it out there again, just to remind folks that, I'm sorry, at the county level, no, we don't look after your wastewater system. We have one, but it's not the main one. Yeah. Andrew, please.
Thanks, through you, Warden. I agree with both Deputy Warden and the CAO that we could, we need to inform people. So maybe the three spots, and I think that's excellent, one in the west, one centrally, and one to the east rather, sort of allows us to talk about the website and that we're open and wanting to know and explaining to people what we do. If we go and say, do you want more money for your library? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But if we go and say, okay, here's what other jurisdictions have for their library spend. We lead the way, we're doing this, we're doing that. And what would you like to see if the council is going to get the options of, capital projects or what they are and how they affect these people? I still think at the end of the day, people just want to be heard. And our staff are good, finance, communications, the visual out there is that, before I ran for this job, I didn't quite understand myself what the county did, if I may. So that means I would think a lot of people are in the same boat. Secondly, when I wanted to come to a meeting when Central Elgin was bringing the garbage in-house, I wanted to go to that meeting, and I was invited out for dinner, and I didn't go, and I've never regretted it anything more. The point is that I couldn't complain because I'd been given the option to go and give my views. So I appreciate that when we had it here 2 years ago, the only person that came, I think, was Councillor Giguère's husband. So, but we tried, and so it's. I do think people appreciate our trying to connect with them. And to your point, we have not just the budget, but to communicate that we're here 24/7. So, thank you.
Mike, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're obligated to do the outreach. And we look at the past and we haven't been successful. And if you try to change stuff, but you do exactly the same thing, you're headed for failure. And I know we've made every attempt, and we've attempted the same thing in the lower tier and same result. So I think there are some ideas here, and I like the county stepping out from this central location. And I would invite them to come to my municipality, and maybe a tag team effort at that meeting might work. I want it to work. So we have to try something. Thank you.
Yep. gives you what you need, Blaine?
I think so, Warden. I think the vision of that is starting to come together. I just wanted to certainly tap into the committee to see if there's anything, from a sort of a higher level strategy for those open houses. What we intended is to be that more clarifying voice with respect to the services that we provide, and perhaps even get into some of the pressure areas that the county's facing so that people understand, at least at a higher level, some of the financial or the resourcing pressures that we're continuing to manage. But more of a two-way communication, but certainly an educational part on our side to allow our community to, gain that greater understanding as to the role that the county plays and the role that then, quite frankly, the role that the county could play, because we might hear some feedback in where areas where they'd like to see the county get involved. And that's something for, the committee and council to consider going forward.
I think that's the kind of communication that we would all be open to and trying to figure that out. I don't think we were getting those kinds of responses through the formal questionnaire process. And not many people want to sit down and fill out a questionnaire. Some did, but the response rate was really low. Yeah. So yeah, let's try something different. I agree. Good. I don't see any other business unless someone has any. And there's no correspondence. We have no need to go into a closed meeting. Which brings us to the date of the next meeting. Any ideas? I assume we're going to start down the budget road sometime. Not this afternoon, I hope. Jen?
Through you, Mr. Warden, to members of the committee. No, we have started internally.
Okay.
We're working on getting some dates set with departments so that we can sit down and have those conversations. So as far as that goes, that's where we are in our process right now.
Okay, thank you for that. So shall we leave it at the call to chair? All right, let's do that. So we're at adjournment time. Excuse me.
Resolved that we do now adjourn at 11:48 a.m. to meet again at the call of the chair.
Do we have a mover? Second, Councillor Sloan will move that. Councillor Hens will second. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much for joining us and very productive short budget meeting. We're adjourned.